Fuji has made the devastating mistake of catering to photographers. One of the worst things a camera company could do. Photographers are bad people. They'll forget your birthday. They don't wear clothes. Today we talk about the strange decisions that Fuji has been making over the past couple years now. I think it's gonna get worse.
All I want is the perfect camera. All I want is the perfect camera.
So we're on a humble setup here, the Fuji X-T4 with the Fuji 23mm Tony 2. Just relaxing. I figure what we do today, we test all the film simulations as I talk about Fuji's terrible decision-making abilities. And that way, I love doing this. We talk about something, but we also test something else irrelevant to the video. It's good content. Did things just get better or worse for you? So we're just going to go down the list. So we're at standard right now. We were in F-Log. I put the dynamic range up to 400. So just to start off, I love Fujifilm. Don't get me wrong, this is tough love. It's a tough love video in hopes that they can bring something new to the table. I love the look. It's a little weird sometimes. The skin tones are, I look pink and magenta. Now it's orange. Never know what's going to happen. I don't understand how different cameras can make the skin look so different. White people aren't that different. We're white. We're white and pink, like pigs in a blanket. Why is some orange, some are pink, some are green? Sony, looking at you. So the first questionable decision Fuji made that made me think, like, what are they doing? Do they know what they're doing? They might not. They released the Fuji X-H1 and then immediately debunk it with the X-T3. And the X-H1 was advertised as this video-centric thing at 4K. It's like beautiful, amazing. It wasn't working for me. You could only be right in the center for the autofocus to work. Rule of thirds, you had problems. I just didn't get the release. Like, why did you even release the X-H1 if your other team in the back was working on an X-T3? They weren't different enough. It was a little bigger, more comfortable to hold, the X-H1, but... And then later, Fuji came out saying that's the rugged camera now. It's not the video one, it's the rugged. It's bigger and bulkier and you could pee on it. We don't know what the X-H1 is anymore and what the X-H2 is going to be. Is it going to be video-centric or just bigger and heavier and not much better? All right, we're in auto ISO now. I clearly don't know what I'm doing. When shade happens, I don't adjust fast enough. We're in Velvia now. Vivid. That's what you definitely want to shoot in when you want orange hands. So moving along from that terrible decision, I don't mind that you made a better camera, and thank you, but which one does what? I like that Sony has the video camera, the photo one, the hybrid, and then the all-seeing eye one that costs $7,500, $1,000. They look yellow. Many colors of the rainbow this morning, Fuji. This 50mm Tony 1 release, I question why. Why is it out there? You have a 1.2 56mm and then a 50 Tony 2. Like, you got it covered. People love both. I prefer the 50 Tony 2 because it autofocused faster. It was magic enough. The 56 is a classic, even though it doesn't autofocus well. Why did you even make this thing? The 1? It's so heavy and big, so much just for tone. For tone? Don't let the tone run you. You only have so much research and development money and time, and then you're gonna devote all your energy into something you already had covered when we have so many other needs. I don't get the decision making, and this is the problem with Fuji. They're focusing on weird shit. We're in Astia soft. He's so soft right now. So that was a questionable decision. Then the 16mm 2.8. I don't think a lens has pissed me off more in the history of life. Think of this. Much smaller and lighter, thank you, than the 16 1.4. But we know that the 1.4 didn't autofocus well for video. It actually does, but there's times where it messes up. And most of the Fuji lenses do not autofocus well in video. That's your main goal here, to bring that up to speed. The 16mm, you would think, oh, that's a video lens now, it's modern. That thing lost me more than any other lens. The worst lens in the history of life, 18mm Tony-2 with its freakish jumps in autofocus, that thing kept me more than this new 16. To couple with the fact that there's no Tone even visible. What is that lens? Who is that for? Right now your choices are magical 16mm 1.4 that's brilliant in every way but heavy, or a piece of shit that doesn't work but it's lighter and cheaper. I don't like those odds. Classic chrome. They all look the same to me, kind of. Very similar, very dark blacks. Strange. Fuji has strange colors. I wouldn't say they're accurate, but they're kind of pleasing. They're no Olympus colors. Let's be real with ourselves. The 16 to 80. I lied about the 16mm. The 16 to 80 was the dumbest lens Fuji's ever made. It had the worst stabilization I've ever seen. Dual stab? No. It was so shaky. The autofocus, not good. When you zoom, it freaks. And a Tony 4? Tony 4 is a Tony 6. Who would ever buy a Tony 6 zoom? I'm just not understanding the need for that. You had a kit lens, 18 to 55? So similar, a little longer reach, tiny bit wider, but you lose the aperture. Whereas the other one is actually stable. It was a good lens, known as like the best kit lens. It's okay. Let's be real. I don't get these lenses. What I do get is Pro Neg High, which we're on now. They all look the same. This new 27mm. Your aperture ring and focus ring are right there. You're gonna change both every time. Photographers have fat fingers. They like French fries. They don't plan out their meals. They go out in the field, it's like, oh, what? I need food. I forgot. I didn't realize I'm a human being that runs on calories. So they just go to the quickest hot dog stand. Oh, good, processed meat. Pig bums. I did good today. You didn't get a shot you liked, and you now smell like cheese. The thing is, you already had this lens. You had a 27mm, same exact lens. You didn't even change the glass in there. It's the same look. Imagine upgrading to the same exact look. Oh, but I can do this now. You could have just finger twitched it. Same exact deal with the 10 to 24 update as we switched to Pro Neg Standard. That looks real. Wow, that's a good one. Should be in that. I'm used to Eterna all the time, just F-Log to Eterna. We have different looks capable. The 10 to 24, it had big problems. The stabilization didn't work with ibis, and the autofocus would lose you. Even though it was a Tony 4, you could barely tell the difference between you and 50 yards away. Just the hunting. That's one of the reasons I returned the DJI Pocket 2. It was hunting quite a bit. Even though everything was in focus, you could just see the background in focus. It's like a Panasonic system. Not very good. Not very pleasing. You didn't fix any of those issues. So it's a Mark II lens. All you did was weather seal it. I'm sorry, I don't vlog in the winter night when there's ice storms. And that's what this lens is for, vlogging. Who takes pictures in the rain? Give raindrops on the lens. Oh, I ruined the shot. It's raining. I should have noticed the drops. And that's your only wide lens. Like, that's the option if you want to vlog. So many people recommend that. And then in their own video, the thing's waving around. Like, are you seeing what you're recommending here? Like, it's the worst lens. I've tested them all. The kit lens is one of the only ones, and the 16mm 1.4. The 18 Tony 2 is good too, but you have to really get it out there, and it's mainly just your head. That's a problem. As we switch to classic neg, or as I like to call it, Tony Northrup orange. Beauty is upon us. The 70 to 300. Probably a great lens. It's not long enough, but it could be good for mildly far away animals, like bunnies in someone's yard. It's potential. But you already had a 55 to 200 and a 50 to 230. Were we dying for something not as wide but a little longer? The overlap, are we seeing it? Don't overlap brick makers, you don't overlap that. There's some things you do. Phyllo dough, overlap those if you want heart disease. Oh, hey, Eterna, have you been? I wasn't trying other profiles. I was just... Oh, the tomfoolery gets me nowhere. Eterna is life. Don't even try the others. The 18 mil 1.4. I don't remember personally asking for it. We had the 16 1.4. It's barely different. It's so close as to why. 16 is the greatest lens ever made. I would like a wider one. You went the opposite direction and not far enough. Who's buying that thing? Is it smaller and lighter than the 16? Even if it was, you gotta get it out there if you're vlogging with it, which is its main purpose. And you already had an 18 mil Tony-2. And it was so light. And even though people complain about the autofocus, it's the only lens that holds me. The old ones, they actually hold me. Most of these newer ones, any one that I've tried, it loses. It's worse than Panasonic. I saw Locke's review of the new GFX 100S, and he was filming with the S5. Immediately I thought, like, wow, that looks good. Is that the A7S III? And then I saw this, Panasonic, where have you been? Panny looks good. And when he switched to the Fuji medium format, it looked worse. Admittedly, he probably didn't know what he was doing in that moment. He's just like auto mode, but like the auto exposure stepping was terrible. Autofocus was jumping. Like Panasonic now has more reliable autofocus than this. How's it been performing today? Fuji, you're down there. You're down at the bottom. This is also Eterna, but it's been passed through a bleach bypass filter, and I don't mind that. I look like a zombie, much like your president of the... What? He's smart. He's really the president. It's not a show. It's not a movie. He's doing good things. The 8 to 16 mil Tony 2.8. It's so heavy and only 2.8, which is 4.2 in reality. Compared to the Sony 12 to 24, which is the same focal length, but also 2.8, a real 2.8, it's only like a couple 100 grams lighter, maybe 150. I don't get it. Who's buying that thing? You already had the 10 to 24. So you get a little wider, a little faster, but so much heavier. And expensive too, that thing. I want to try it, but I know vlogging is going to be so wobbly. They haven't figured that out. Only Sony has. Really? I don't know how they do it. They had the worst ibis, but once they added the active stabe, no lens ever warps, ever. I even did the 12 mil. Zoomed in a little bit. No wavy. No waving. I don't, at the present moment, own a camera company, but if I was to somehow acquire Fuji with my YouTube ad revenue somehow, if they'd take the offer, I wouldn't be working on this stuff, whatever they're doing. They have needs. Obviously, we know they need a fast, wide prime for vlogging hobos. You decide. 10 mil Tony 2, 1.8, if it's not too big. It can't be too big. We're talking like 300 grams max. So show me the stats here. I would love to sit down with like a lens technician and just spit numbers at him. Like 10 mil Tony 2, how much is that gonna weigh? Too much? Okay. 2.8. No, I don't like it. Reverse that. Make the lens, let me look at it first. No. Make it out of sand. Do you want a hot dog? And we are in Acros, by the way. They have some of the updates they need to make. The 23 mil 1.4. I'd like to see that thing. Because you need at least a 1.4 on APS-C if you're going to sit in your house. Pretend that's a painting that costs actual money. That was a Value Village purchase, we all know it. If you blur it out a little bit, maybe he got it somewhere. Like a gallery. I doubt it, but you never know. You question it. Maybe even the 35 mil 1.4. Pleasing. Your 10 to 24 should have been a 10 to 18. 2.8 to 4. Knocked it down with stabe that's dual in its capacities. It speaks to the ibis. We talk about it. You disable this movement in the ibis. Only do this and this. Let us turn that on, because then it's not going to wave. I think that's what Sony does. They might. And that. Roll, but don't tilt. This is monochrome. What's the difference? This is kind of symbolizes my point. You had acros and monochrome, two black and white profiles. Are they different in any way? And same with their cameras. There's just too many budget models. They're wasting so much time into like trying to get somebody from a smartphone to step up a little bit. It has to be a drastic leap. Just I'll whet their taste with Fuji potential. You can't change any settings, but there's no reel or dial on it. Sorry about that. We did remove the buttons. Your smartphone has touchscreen everywhere. It's fun. Sorry. Get them up. Smartphones are now like $1,600, $2,000 some. That new Sony Pro thing is $2,500 American. I don't even want to look at the Canadian price. I don't even know. That thing sucks. The wide lens has such a small sensor, like smaller than GoPro. The last setting is sepia, and we stay here to finish it off. Fuji's a good company, but in my opinion, they need to work on the polish. Their autofocus, it's not reliable. It's oftentimes worse than Panasonic, which trails the industry. So guess who the new low boy is? Just bringing the other camera companies coffee. Don't drink coffee. It ruins your nervous system. The polish is where it's at. The ibis, the autofocus, work on getting that up to at least Nikon level. Maybe not Canon, Sony level. Nikon Olympus level. Try to bypass Panasonic. I know it's a lot to ask. They have amazing depth from defocus technology that focuses on an inner world that only they can see. The polish, if your photography camera freaks don't like the flippy screen, okay, give them a photo camera. The X Pro 3, whatever. Make a photo line, flip up screen, yay. For photographers who can't twist their fat necks. I get it. And then a video one. The X-T4, to me, seems like that turned into the video line. XH2 should be pro photography then. Most photographers don't seem to take video. They seem to get annoyed by anybody who even mentions video. On DP Review, if Jordan blesses us with a video, oh god damn it, another video. Write an article. Write an article. Photographers seem to just hate videographers, whereas me, like, I know I make fun of y'all. It's fun. It's all fun and games. Sometimes I take photos whenever I need to take a photo. Look who I'm reaching to. Sony a7 III with the 90mm macro. Every time. Hey, kitty. Let's do it. I'm going to get low angle on the shot. And she's not going to move from her beautiful position. I will manually focus on her. She looks scared and terrified. I captured terror in my cat. What is that piece of Sony technology? She's afraid of reptilians. She's had a bad past with them. I understand. We all have. So Fuji, I don't know. I don't feel like investing more into a Fuji system just because of the unpolished autofocus and strange ibis. Weird things happen to good people. But the look they have, maybe not right now, but we've seen some looks. I want that nostalgia negging here. You give it to us. So there's potential. It's a fringe society that likes Fuji because of the weird colors of film. And it makes them feel right, like they're born in the 1970s. And they had fun times back then. They're hippies at heart. I'm gonna leave. What do you think of all that after you bought a Fuji Assassin t-shirt? My lowest selling shirt in the business. It's one of my favorites. That's the coolest shirt in a Fuji Assassin right there. You beware. So let me know what Fuji needs to work on and what mistakes they've made. Do you agree? Post it all down below and I'll delete your comment. Subscribe for more videos. I'll see you later.